play a game.
They're here.
Here's Johnny.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho.
When you're down here with me,
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new edition of Friday the 14th podcast. I'm one of the fellas, Juan, joined alongside with these two handsome young gentlemen.
Ooh.
Mr. Fuentes.
And on bottom,
On the bottom. I like to be on the bottom when you're on top. The 4K bad guy.
how's everybody's, I'm sorry, I'm a little Antichrist tongue-tied right now.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Chaos is here, guys. Antichrist, how's everybody's week gone? Fuentes, you have a good week?
I think it's all right. Trying to get better at scheduling my life, so that's kind of been. It's going. It's just a little stressful.
Hey, roller coasters are fun. What about you, Nick? You have a good week?
A good week. Yeah, today will be my end of the weekend for me. Although last Saturday I did go to a wrestling show. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
Didn't get home till like 5 in the morning.
Oof.
Yeah.
As long as you had fun, that's all that counts.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But guys, we are here talking about Antichrist today. A movie that was on the schedule that was one of my picks. And I am honestly a little excited just to see you guys' reactions to this movie. So if you guys don't have anything else you want to throw in the box, I guess we can get started if you guys want.
Let's do it.
Antichrist. You guys can check it now. I believe it's on like wherever you stream movies for like $2.99, $3.99, or you can pick it up at on Criterion. October 23rd, 2009, with a release date. A grieving couple retreat to their cabin in the woods, hoping to repair their broken heart and troubled marriage, but nature takes its course and things go from bad to worse. Starring Willem Dafoe, Charlotte Gainsbourg, and Storm Shellstrom plays Nick, a little boy. Directed by Lars von Trier. Yeah, so we'll get into the Antichrist. So that was your spoiler-free synopsis.
Now, this spoiler-free rating one.
Spoiler-free rating.
All right, your movie, you're first.
I'm first. You guys are throwing me under the bus. This is only my second full-time watch. And it didn't age as well as I thought it was going to for me, but I think I'm still going to give it a 3. I'm kind of sitting halfway in the middle right now, so I'm going to give it 3 machetes.
I give it 3 machetes as well.
It is but it's Willem Dafoe. So that being said, 3.5.
Oh,
Willem Dafoe.
Dang.
There's a lot of like lore behind this movie, but I want to ask you guys like right off the bat, like, we're gonna go ahead and get into spoiler territory right now. So if you guys haven't seen it now, like I said, go check it out on any streaming services that you can rent it from, or you can check it out on Blu-ray. You guys kind of seem a little off the wall. What do you guys think? Fuentes, we'll start with you. Like, the first 10 minutes, you kind of get like everything. Like, you get a shock, you get a what the F moment, and then you just get more Willem Dafoe than you probably had ever imagined. What did
Yeah,
what did you think of that first 10 minutes?
I was like, whoa, this is a masterpiece. I got I got to see Willem Dafoe in all his glory, and I was like, oh wow, yeah. Um, just like you're just talking about that first initial intro before like the bed happens, right? Like before the actual talking and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just the first like 10 minutes, really, where you get that slow Lexi cam shot of the
Mhm.
shower, the sex, and then the kid, waking up, detaching the kid gate or the baby gate, and then he sees the snowflakes coming in, and you know, very very unsettling scene to watch, but like the director does not steer, and he shows you literally almost everything, probably
I
more than
mean,
we. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, we're watching a full on porn right here. Hell yeah. You just see it go straight into the thing.
which
Like
which was a prosthetic, I think, by the way. So
I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
not not real Defoe.
Wait, the kid that fell out with a prosthetic?
Yes.
Um, no, I honestly I thought it was like just from that scene you can kind of like I don't want to say guess, but you can kind of see like where the rest of the how the movie's gonna be just from watching that first part because like it was just so well done and like in such an artsy kind of form. Like in my head, I thought two things. One, this is gonna be like a real kind of like artsy cinematic type of movie, lots of subliminal messaging, lots of like cool camera subliminal. I want to say camera angles and things like that. Things that kind of get your mind stirring a bit. Um, or could turn into one of those really crazy artsy films that's just going batshit off the wall, and you're like, okay, you're like trying to do something, but I'm not sure what it is. um, but just from those first 10 minutes, it was like you could you could tell that he like was really good at his craft. Like whoever, like every scene, actually throughout the movie, there were certain scenes like I saw. I was just like, man, this guy really had to like visually have seen that in his head, and then like literally put that like there. Like sometimes I just think the camera rolls, and people are just, oh, dad, that was an awesome scene I just shot. Like it's all some of it I feel like is unintentional. Like you could walk in with an intention and you come out with something that kind of seemed like it was what you imagined it was going to be. Whereas this seemed like every scene for the most part was very intentional and every single thing was meant to be in the place that it was at. So it was really cool actually watching the movie and kind of seeing it from that perspective that this artist had this idea in his head and he put it onto film, probably 100% how he thought it was supposed to be.
Nick, what'd you think, man? The first like few minutes.
It was beautiful. It was very arty. For a second, I got distracted with Fuentes' background. He had Childish Gambino's camp vinyl in the background. I was like, okay, but besides it starting off with a bang, I did it. It was but the kid jumping off was he switched to because of the internet. But I don't know. I feel like a bit upset because it may be a prosthetic penis now. So no, but man, pretty much what this kind of said worded it nicely, better than what I could say it.
This is also one of those movies that has the chapters involved throughout the whole movie. After the death of the child, you get chapter 1, which is grief. What do you guys think of the chapters in between scenes? Are you a fan of chapters, or are you like, do you feel like you have to go back and rewind if you missed, like, oh, it's on chapter 3, I missed chapter 2, I got to see what chapter 2 is? Are you guys that way, or?
It kind of like I didn't really. I saw it happening, but now that you're making me think about it, because I wasn't thinking about it while I was watching the movie, it kind of plays on the actual full idea that this isn't just a movie, but it's actually um, like like a play being done right in front of you, but in movie form. So it kind of just adds to the whole artsy idea of the movie. As far as like me, like what there was a chapter 2 in between this, like it wouldn't matter to me that if I saw it or didn't see it. Like I treat it as one big movie. I guess it's supposed to be treated as like intro, something, climax, ending. It's kind of how it's supposed to, I think, play inside movies.
Well, it almost kind of like I'm not gonna say like it gives anything away, but like when the baby gets up on the table as he's entering the ledge of the window, you can see the three little statues or
Mhm.
three little grief. I think one is despair. So that, like all three little chapters, I guess if you can say, are on the table that he's climbing up on. I don't know. I just felt like the little details of this movie stood out to me, other than like it's not really horror-esque, maybe, at least for you guys. I don't know, you guys can, throw your 2 cents in, but it didn't get really horror-esque for me until maybe like 45 minutes in. Other than like the score and the soundtrack, it wasn't very horror-like. And then, obviously you get to the end and you're just like, yeah, horrific.
Well, it was actually like very strange because at least the flow of the movie, like the movie really keeps you very focused on like the condition of the woman a lot of the time. But then you get these random like obvious breakdowns of Willem Dafoe's character, of him like hallucinating things and seeing things in between. And by the time you get to the end of it, you kind of realize more that it wasn't really being plain, but Willem Dafoe was also having his own journey the entire
Right.
time. And but it's like the movie kept you really focused on the woman's journey.
Do you,
But you
oh, go ahead, my bad. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe you could help me understand, but like I was just the more I watched it, the more it was just like um well, I started kind of trying to like, because I was like, look, this movie is obviously one of those movies you have to watch like 4 times before you really understand like the meaning of it. So I started like researching what's your interpretation of this movie, little things. I started reading through them. So basically, it was saying that like the woman, obviously it was very front forward what her deal was. Well, actually, even that's not really straightforward when you really think about it. But anyway, but Willem Dafoe's character was trying to deal with this grief by being controlling of the woman and
Right.
trying to control her thing, which is something I didn't really see watching it the first time. It kind of just seemed like someone who really cared for his wife and just wanted to take care of her. But there was really a more kind of a sinister side to it where he was actually being manipulative in a sense and using her as a crutch to deal with his own grief and stuff like that. So that stuff I didn't really see until like you kind of rethink the things and you're like, oh, I guess he's just is kind of using her as a puppet, to try to get himself his own relief, or it's his own way of dealing with the grief, the despair, and everything that you see throughout the thing.
Because I mean, for some reason, at least the first time I watched it, the movie made me feel like I should be on Willem Dafoe's side. But then this second time around, watching it, I feel like it was more of a male chauvinist movie, maybe because of how the director is putting her through so much pain and agony, and he's making her seem like she's the problem. The director, I don't know, for me at least, and that's the thing with this director, he always puts his female cast leads through hell. And this one was like no different. Like she's either always screaming, crying, whining, or having sex. She's not doing anything else throughout the whole movie. And then at the end, she's played as the bad guy. And, you're kind of like, Willem Dafoe should be looked at as well as the bad guy because, first off, if he's a therapist, You really shouldn't be, you know, treating your own family member, which he is. And then he takes her to Eden, which she's already terrified of the woods. So he kind of like brings more hell upon her by taking her to a place that she really doesn't want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the really big twist of the movie, again, spoiler, is that she was actually kind of evil and twisted as well, because she was forcing the kids' feet to look and be deformed throughout the whole movie. When you find out, that's one of the twists at the end.
Yeah. Which was kind of like, and again, that's why I say, like, you don't really know the woman's intentions, because you kind of get this idea that she seems to be grieving, but then she even kind of says, like, a crying woman is a woman who's scheming. So it's like, maybe this was the plan the whole time, was to go out to Eden and do these horrible things to her husband. Maybe she did see some satisfaction in, that it only shows it for a split second, but you see that she sees her son like on the table, like basically about to fall out the window. And it's obvious. I mean, I don't want to say obviously, but when you replay that scene in your head, she chose the satisfaction of having that orgasm she was about to have.
Yep.
Over stopping them to save her kid. Like, oh my God, I need to get this kid. He's probably going to fall out the window. Instead, she was like, look, I'm about to reach the most awesome orgasm I've ever had in my life. Like, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep going. And she obviously was fighting with that. She felt bad about it, but, it was kind of really weird, like, because in the beginning movie, in the intro, you see her smiling, after everything's done and over with, right? She has this really big smile on her face. And then you see the scene where she sees her son really close to the window, about to basically fall out. And it's just like, why is she smiling so big? When you really think about it, you're like, it's almost like, and I don't want to be gross or weird, but you always hear the joke about, like, when guys finish masturbating, they always are like, why am I looking at this shit? Like, just close all the windows, But for her, it was like, you feel like you'd feel that. You like, I wanted the climax more than I wanted to save my child. Then the child falls out the window. She gets her climax, but instead of having the sad moment, it's like, it's all euphoria. And I mean, maybe she's guilty about it. It kind of seems like a lot of it was planned at the beginning. It kind of seemed like she was kind of manipulative from the beginning. It's a very, like I said, I feel like you have to watch this movie multiple times to, now that you know the ending, to see all the beginning little things. Like, I noticed what you said before, the grief, the despair, the little statues, all in the beginning of the movie. Like, I didn't really know what the movie was about. But I kind of started getting the hint that this kid was going to fall out the window. So I was like, okay, so that's why this grief, despair kind of thing is happening. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I don't know. It was really, at least if we're still talking about the beginning, it was really cool. As far as the whole movie from beginning to end, I thought it was artsy. I thought it was cool. I really need to probably watch it a few more times before I would understand really, even what you said. I watched it the second time, and you were more not rooting for the woman, but more of like seeing how she was being manipulated by him when he should have just left her alone, let the doctor do his thing. Instead, he'd rather like, well, I want a project, and she's going to be my new project, for my despair.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it too. The title Antichrist, when you first think of that, you think of like, there has to be a character in the movie, like, who is the Antichrist? Who's the devil? Did you guys have any like kind of questions? Like, is somebody really the Antichrist in this movie? Is it him? Is it her? Or, what was your thoughts? Like, is it, surely it's just not the name of the movie, this time around. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, a lot of me personally, I didn't really know, because I thought about the same thing. I was like, Antichrist, I'm not really sure like how to view the whole thing. Um, but when I read some of the reviews, it said a lot of people look at it as, you know, the devil, Antichrist, Satan. Uh, but Antichrist's real stem comes from opposite of Christ, um, which basically means you're not living a biblical good life. And obviously, both of these characters were not living very good lives, the opposite of Christ. You know, the woman who was researching witchcraft and purposely making her son wear opposite shoes for Munchausen syndrome. I don't know what you call it, but whatever, like making him feel like he has a disability that he doesn't really have. And then the guy, you know, basically forcing his wife to like suffer in a sense, you know, not being very Christ-like. I mean, and that's what the devil does, right? The devil makes you seem like he's trying to help you. He's trying to make you feel better, but in reality, he's making you more miserable. He's making your life a living hell. He just makes you think that, you know, you're choosing these things in your life. So it's really, yeah. I mean, they're both pretty messed up, twisted people.
I kind of felt like nature was the not Antichrist in the movie, but I feel like nature is almost like
The bad guy.
the bad guy.
It was like the happening.
Yeah,
No.
not like that, where the tree and everything is like possessed, but almost like it felt like an Adam and Eve story. You know,
Garden
especially
of
with
Eve.
yeah,
Eden.
especially with their names being him and being her. You know, and then that's again that meaning who was the first one to take a bite of the apple? Wasn't it supposed to be Eve, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's again the director making the female seem like she's the I don't know, but I don't know if I'm looking too much into it, but I just felt like with the three beggars at the end being you know animals, and then the whole casting and the whole witchery with the tree and the tree sex or whatever that was, and then you know the bodies at the end. I don't know. I just kind of felt like, you know, maybe if there is a hidden message in there, maybe it's just like that nature or this world is just like a cruel, nasty place, and no matter how good you try to be, it'll just like chew you up, spit you out, and two pure people can perish and can fall because of how cruel this world is. I don't know.
Maybe it's called Antichrist because it's like the opposite of that. You know, maybe it's instead of the story of Adam and Eve, it's the like Antichrist story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and horrible people doing things to each other, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, because it ends in a sense with exactly what you would probably do to get cast out of Eden. You know, like it ends with murder. You know, and that was kind of the idea. You know, the three. I don't know about three beggars. I'm not really into the biblical stuff, but you know, I know when Jesus was born, there was the three wise men. You know, so this one had the three beggars, and it was just like the birth of something new, the Antichrist. She was like, we're waiting for the three beggars because they need to sacrifice. It's the only way to make everything, you know, right.
Yep.
It was really, it kind of seemed like an anti, you know, Adam and Eve story and Antichrist, you know, the opposite of everything.
Nick, man, what about you, man? How'd you feel?
About the
That's childish.
Charles Gambino. No, I mean, I feel like there was something like this. I mean, just the whole woods in general as I feel like that being a thing. Just the setting of just evil. Like I don't know. When watching it, I thought just being in the area like it made people and going solely insane, but just the area just being real evil and stuff. So. But like to go off the Antichrist name, yeah, sure. I I thought by default maybe it could be Willem Dafoe because he has the futures that he could pull off that character in that one, like doing a little bit of research on the movie. Not research, but just quick images. They show that shot of Willem Dafoe and the acorns like slowly falling down. That looks like kind of misleading.
What do you guys think of the acorns like that kept falling? Do you think there was some like any kind of meaning or symbolism behind the acorns that kept falling?
I haven't thought about it, but let me think. But yeah, well, she does mention that, you know, oak trees or whatever kind of trees make acorns live to be 100 years. So it has 100 years to reproduce. So every acorn that fell was a chance for it to have an offspring.
That's
So
amazing.
and how lucky they were, you know, to be able to do that, because I guess, you know, she just lost a child, so obviously she's thinking about procreation and things like that. But she did mention, you know, about every acorn being a chance for it to spread its offspring.
Yeah, I will say like after you get into chapter 2, which is pain, you get some creepy scenes of not really just creep. I don't know how you guys felt about it being a creepy horror, kind of horror like movie, but I felt like some scenes like where Willem Dafoe wakes up and he's got the ticks on his arm, or you hear the baby Nick crying and she gets up and she's looking for him. It seems like after that, like you said, Fuentes, that's when the guilt starts lending in and she starts getting angry and more physical after she wakes up hearing Nick cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she says to Willem Dafoe, this may not last long. And it's like she already had it in her mind that, is she going to sacrifice him?
That's kind of crazy. And, now that I'm kind of thinking about the whole it being like an opposite of Adam and Eve story, like Eden was a place that was supposed to be paradise, the perfect place to be, period. But this place was the opposite of that. This is a place they didn't, or she didn't want to be. They didn't want to be technically. They wanted to escape from it, or she wanted to escape from it. It's more of almost like, if you want to compare them to Adam and Eve, she's Eve, but really it's just the devil and Eve. It's him trying to make her be like the worst of or possible that she could be. And yeah, she was trying to escape and he just wouldn't let her. He was just like, nope, you're going to come back here. You're going to stay in Eden, which is hell. And I want you to be here and suffer with me. Which is kind of crazy to think about,
Yeah, I mean, and now that you say that, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, she's trying to get out. Is she the one that's just has had enough? And then she has that scene. I mean, if you guys want to get into actually after chapter 3 is despair, so we'll you got the tree scene, which is the only thing that really stands out to me in that chapter. But chapter 4 is chapter 3 is where the like the gruesome stuff starts happening, where she takes the log and she hits him in his green goblin.
God damn.
And
his face went out.
And that's where, I mean, I was really surprised the first time I watched this, but even the second time I'm like, how did they get away with stuff like this? I mean, yeah, it's rated NC-17, I think, but like still, like this still made it to public theaters. Like this still grossed $7.4 million. So like, this made money. What do you guys think of those scenes?
I was gonna point out that like, it, like you said before in the beginning, it didn't really seem like a horror movie. It seemed more of a drama, even with the aspects around the end of what you're trying to explain. The things that end up transpiring. It didn't really make it seem like a horror movie. It just kind of made it seem still like a drama of a girl that's just kind of just had enough. She's lost it. You know, that's done. She's done. But you know, I think the over like use of like sexuality in this movie, and even showing of like private parts and certain things like happening throughout the movie, it gave you that cringe factor that like really made you uncomfortable, which is what horror movies are supposed to do. They're supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. You know, that's one of the thrills of them, at least, you know, the scare factor and the uncomfortability factor. And you know, I think it was kind of a ploy, you know, the overuse of sex in the beginning to kind of get you used to the idea that sex is going to be a part of this, you know, movie. And we all love, you know, we all love sex as people, you know, sex. You're like, wow, I'm really interested. And then you start seeing like the mutilation of like sexual organs, and you're like, oh God, Jesus, right in his green goblins and his two little pumpkin balls. And you know, and then oh man, that one scene.
Even I think that's where you're going. Like even after that, she milks the blood out of it. I don't know how to, you know, put in
Milks the blood out of it.
But it even shows that and how graphic the blood like got all over her.
Yeah, it was very cringy. I was just like, oh my God, she's not about to do what I think she's about to do. Oh my God, she's not. Oh my God, she freaking did what I thought she was gonna do. That was, and like they didn't, like you said, like they showed this on freaking like on a movie. Like it was insane that, you know, it's like I don't even want to say it because I want people to listen to this and be like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about what I think they're talking about? Like, yes, we're talking about what you think we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's that. I mean, it's funny that you say that because that's how I got involved into this movie. Like way back when, before I even started a podcast, like I was just randomly listening to different shows, and you know, this one podcast was talking about it. I'm like, it can't be that bad. And sure enough, they were talking about it in July. So, you know, Barnes and Noble had their Criterion sale on. So I went and picked it up, and I was like, you know, I did the whole, oh no, oh my God, what am I watching? And then I had to like literally stop and like, are you sure I didn't buy a, you know, what I thought I bought? There's not a Playboy bunny on it. So no, like, but yeah.
I think the cover kind of gives away what the theme's going to be.
But
those legs.
But yeah, one podcast brought me onto the movie. I kind of had the same reaction. And then I made the mistake by showing everybody the movie first, and I wanted to talk about it. And I'm like, oh, I don't get any like good conversations about this movie. Like people are just going to see it and they'll be like, no, I don't want to talk about that. So like, I'm not going to say I use you guys as guinea pigs, but like, you know, being on a horror podcast and seeing all kinds of different stuff that's out there, like Father's Day, being brought on to something like that, or Thanksgiving, maybe, you know, I was like,
oh, it's coming. Once a year.
I was like, you know, I think this would make for a really good conversation piece with people who constantly watch horror movies, talk about horror movies. And even though, yeah, it's more of a drama than anything, like this subject matter at the end of the movie, and even at the beginning and the middle, I want to see where these guys go with, you know, this first time watch. And honestly, I was really surprised that, you know, you guys gave it a 3.5.
Yeah, for the ass shots.
I knew this was gonna, like in that beginning scene, I knew it was gonna try to push boundaries. Well, one, it showed like this guy's going right into, you know, but two, whenever the kid was falling out the window, I'm like, all right, this is gonna tell me whether they're gonna be, you know, really going into it or they're not. If you see the kid hit the ground, you're gonna know that this is gonna be something that they're gonna push the boundaries. If it just stops and you don't see the kid hit the ground, then you know it's gonna be another movie where they're just gonna push away from certain scenes and things like that. And they didn't, you know. You see the kid, you know, hit the snow. I did imagine that there's gonna be like blood start trickling out somewhere, but I don't think it did. But you do see the kid hit the ground, so it's just like, oh. Okay.
So let me ask you guys this. You know, 2 weeks ago we talked about Insidious Chapter 2. to where it was. I think it's rated R. I think I'm not sure. I can't remember. I know we talked about it.
Insidious is
Yeah.
all the PG-13.
So it's PG-13. Do you guys like that kind of horror more to where it'll start showing you something and then it goes away and lets your mind play with you, or like with this subject matter, it just showed you everything and you didn't have to play imagination. And I think it just may, and my answer would be it depends on the subject matter. Like something like
Yeah.
Jaws.
I mean, yes, I see how you could save money by not showing things.
Yeah.
As a film producer maker, like, okay, we just don't show this guy's head getting cut off and just put a little splatter across the wall. I'm about to save like at least $1,000 in a fake head getting chopped in half, or a fake realistic head getting chopped in half. But as far as like the way this movie was done, it had to be as raw as possible. I mean, that was the only way to really convince you of the subject matter and everything. Like, it was a very, very raw movie. The only scene that really kind of threw me off was the whenever she was drilling like the hole into his leg.
Oh yeah.
And the blood looked very bright orange compared to like any kind of like what we normally see in horror movies, which is more of a darker kind of red.
This is pumpkins.
And I was just like, wow, that looks way faker than normal stuff I see in horror movies. But that was the only part that I was just like, huh, all this realism, and you're gonna throw like orangish, lightish blood at me? Okay, sure. All right.
Yeah, that jumped out at me too. Was the really really light blood, but I mean, yeah, dude, she anchored him down with that clamp looking thing, and he was
The weight.
managed to
Yeah.
he was managed to crawl underneath that hole where the tree was. Going back to like detailism is something that I wanted to point out. That was another positive, was like him killing the crow, because the crow was like giving his
Location away.
I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know.
That crow wouldn't die.
Wouldn't die.
I thought that was probably one of my favorite scenes. Just that was pretty cool. I mean, the crow was kind of buried in there. He believed it was dead, and then it just kind of slowly started chirping away. Just him just trying to fight with the damn crow. Just wouldn't stay down.
Yeah, I guess the more like I don't really understand like if this is supposed to be just two people kind of losing it a bit because they're going through grief, or if the actual forest itself was evil, because or Eden was actually the opposite of paradise.
Because it's almost like she knew. Maybe that's why she was afraid of it. Like, she knew something bad was there anyway, and that's why she never wanted to go back there.
Like, you're not gonna see a deer, a fox, and a crow just kind of chill in your house. Like, they were very. It was all just strange to me, like that too. That Willem Dafoe's character was seeing a lot of like crazy shit happening, like the deer with the like. It either looked like it was a miscarriage of a deer coming out the back of the other deer, or is having birth I don't know. I mean, it could have been having birth, but it looked like it was more of a miscarriage, or like it died. And then the fox like chewing on itself and then talking. What did he say? Chaos something?
Chaos reigns.
Chaos reigns. And then and then that bird, just kind of like giving away the location, kind of being a dill hole. It was just so weird. There's something I did want to point out, that like, that area having like kind of its own life force in a sense, but opposite of that, it sucks life force, because I was waiting for it to show up later in the movie, but it never did. But there's that random scene where like the tree just falls, and then another tree just kind of splits. So in my brain, I'm like, oh man, like this area, Eden, is decaying the life around it. That's why things are just like falling around it. It's decaying everything in its path, basically. And I was expecting to see that more throughout the movie, like more things starting to decay, but you didn't really see that transpire the way I thought it was going to. But which makes me kind of question the whole scene in general. Like, why was it really there? Why was the tree falling and the other tree splitting have anything to do with anything? But I don't know. Again, you might have to watch this movie several times before you're like, oh, that's what that was trying to say.
Did you guys feel that the symbolism of the snip at the end was needed, or did you think that was like, we've already seen all this, you might as well just show us the snip? Like, I get why the scene was put in there, and the expectation of that she'll never be able to, you know,
Be pleasured again
right?
because, yeah. No, I mean, I think it was necessary. She obviously, I was trying to figure out her plan. I felt like the end game was like, now that our kid's dead, it's like our love's dead, so we need to both die. It's kind of like where I was going with it. Like, I think that was the idea, is that we both need to die because the thing we created died, in a sense. And but obviously she did feel guilt, for what happened. Well, I don't want to say obviously, but I kind of do want to say obviously, because part of me feels like she might have been like an evilish kind of person, really got into her research, really believed that she was, like it said, that women are by nature evil, I think is what she was saying before. So like, she believed she was evil. I don't know if she just wanted to play that role, or if she was guilty, or if she was like, well, I already had sex and had the best orgasm and watched my kid die, so now
It's all downhill from here.
yeah, like now I am evil and I need to prove that I'm evil. So now I need to do something horrible, like kill my husband and cut off my pleasure area and make me feel, like the suffering I deserve for what happened. For all the pleasure I got, I need to feel the opposite of that. That's kind of a saying too. Like, you'll never know true happiness until you know true despair. Like the more lower you go, and this is supposed to be like a philosophy thing, like in real life. Like, the more lower you go in your real life, it makes everything up here better when you finally get out of that hole, because you know what true sadness is like. So now, now that you have happiness, you're like, okay, well, I know what it's like to be on the opposite side. Whereas people who never experience life, live in this kind of like, I don't really know what real sadness is like, so it really means you don't know what real happiness is like, because you can't appreciate this because you don't have this. Well, because she knows what real satisfaction is like, she now needs to give what real pain is like. I mean, what's more painful than what she did?
Almost kind of like it's better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all. Kind of, maybe.
I was like, at this point, I guess you should have never loved. Jesus Christ.
From love
Yeah.
to lust.
Yeah.
And she did that to, I mean, she cut off her. But when I seen when she clamped that weight to Willem Dafoe's leg, I was thinking, is she gonna cut his dick off or what? Just left it up in the open. And just seen that his pubic hair. And it's like,
I might need that later. I'll just drill through his leg.
the carpet match drapes.
And man, I gotta applause Fuentes. Like, yeah, you nailed it. Like, that's exactly like somebody who hasn't seen this movie. The exact way that you put that is how you would, in a nutshell. Like, that's what she went through. Like, that's perfect. Yeah.
I just made that up. So
Get out
On
of
the
here.
spot.
The epilogue at the end. I mean, you get the creepy soundtrack at the very, very end. What'd you guys think of all the people at the end? Like, the camera kind of took a wide shot and it kind of looked like a little hazy film looking, I'm not gonna say heaven, but a western haze kind of feel to it. And you see Willem Dafoe almost kind of look back and like nod his head almost, and then you just saw the people. Like, are they ghosts? Are they souls
women?
that were lost? Yeah. Are they lost souls, or I kind of, even now the second time around, I'm still kind of a little, little confused by it. What do you guys think?
I'm 100% confused. I have no idea what that
I
means.
don't know how they got set free. I don't know if the sacrifice was made them free. I don't know, because I mean they did show the bodies around the woods. You saw the bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I don't know if it was like a, because the wife died or whatever.
Yeah,
The souls are free.
Well,
like
she did say they
she
needed
was
a
the
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
A
Yeah, she
sacrifice.
said there needs to be a sacrifice when the three beggars come. The three beggars were there.
Yeah.
Sacrifice happened, so something happened, but I didn't really understand it too much. I feel like it had something to do with her research she was doing, because it was a bunch of different like torture things for women, and it mostly, from what I can tell, was all, not mostly, every single picture was some different way a woman was being tortured. Um, but it was just so weird, like, you know,
Almost even like, what she was writing, was it loosely based off true stories of women going out to those woods and never coming back again? You could almost even look at it as like a crime drama. All these women maybe go missing, and that's another reason why she don't want to go out to Eden. Is he the one who takes them out there? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it.
That's too many women for him to take out
Yeah,
there.
maybe
but
he's an ancient demon who just takes women out
Oh,
there to kill
the
them.
theories.
yeah, but yeah, I'm still kind of a little confused, but I agree with you guys that maybe they she was just a sacrifice and the other souls were set free.
I mean, that's the only thing that made sense. But even then, it just didn't make sense to me. I just didn't understand it. Like, um, I
Does
tried
this
really hard to understand it. I just couldn't.
does this movie make you guys want to watch other work from the director, or are you guys like, hard pass, I'm good?
Mm.
I mean, I'll watch anything, but I mean, it's definitely an artsy feel. I would like to watch another movie just to compare it to this movie, to see like if it's similar, or if it's just like it was just one of his one hit wonders. Now, I wouldn't even call this a hit, but one of his um, one
Some
artsy.
I'll name off some of the other movies he's done. He's done Mancala with Kristen Dunst, The House That Jack Built with Matt Dillon, Dogville with Nicole Kidman. Uh, and then there's a movie called Nymphomaniac,
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe's in that one as well.
He's playing the same character in this movie after he murdered the person. It's like, I had all this sex when my wife was depressed, and now I need it all the time. Nymphomaniac.
The latest movie I've seen from him is The House That Jack Built, and it follows like a intelligent serial killer. So I don't know, but you guys keep the star ratings. Would you change it? I think I'll keep mine at 3 for now.
I mean, I feel like if I watched it another time, I'd see like the more like subtle details of certain things. The more I think about this movie, and honestly, I came on here thinking like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk to these guys about, like. But the more we talked, the more my brain started making connections, about the movie. Like, oh, okay, well, I didn't really think about it like this. Like, just now thinking about the whole movie as anti everything that it's said. So like, Eden is the opposite of Eden. So instead of being paradise, it's somewhere you want to escape.
Yep.
That's a whole like brain twist. Changes the way my brain thinks about the movie now, because of that. The kind of noticing that he was a little more manipulative than he should have been. Changes my view of things. Just some of the things that I didn't understand. I felt like there was a lot of. This movie was definitely not meant to like digest in one viewing. It's obviously meant to digest in multiple viewings, and I don't know. I feel like there's a coolness to it, and I talked about a lot of cool things. I could give it a 3.5, but I can't until I watch it a few more times. If I ever will. I probably never will. Just saying.
No, I agree. What do you guys want to jump into next? What we'll go, Nick? What about
I
you?
want to jump into you.
You would
Oh,
No,
okay?
my rating stays the same. I think it was pretty good. Especially with the stuff in it. No, but I did watch one of the bonus features on the Blu-ray. With the Willem Dafoe talking about it and how he said that the director, the writer, that he had this all like on a set on the side, like he probably was never gonna make it, but Willem Dafoe kind of gave him that push needed to make it. I thought that was pretty cool.
I heard one of the sound guys, to get some of the certain sounds, swallowed a microphone. I guess it's a smaller microphone, and recorded his innards to use it as part of the film for certain scenes.
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, huh, he swallowed a microphone. Interesting.
This might, I don't know if you guys can, but might be some sad news. I can't find a tagline, if you guys want to get into that already. I don't know, other than Chaos Reigns.
Chaos Reigns.
I did find a tagline earlier for this movie when I was doing my research for random crap.
Or when nature turns evil, true terror awaits.
I think that's what the tagline, at least the one I found, was.
That's a pretty long tagline.
Huh?
When evil dies tonight.
You know, whenever because they don't have actual names. They're to go. Was it her or she?
It was just her and him.
Her and him. Yeah, her. She kept saying, "You, where are you? You bastard! Where are you?"
He and she. I'm sorry.
Right? She kept saying, "Where are you? You bastard!
Yeah.
You bastard!" So over and over again, it's like, all right.
Yeah, I feel like everything's for a reason. I just can't. I'm trying to pinpoint the reason why that. What got stuck to him? Like, did that have symbolism? Like the little wheel, like rod thing that was stuck in his leg. Like, somehow did that have some kind of symbolism? Like, why that specific type of thing, or it would just happenstance? Like, well, I mean, I can easily stick this bolt to this thing that I just took off, but I feel like they're like these things don't just happen for no reason, you know, in these types of movies.
And then the wrench being hidden underneath the floor.
Oh
They
yeah.
were all the three. When he set the was it the crow free?
Yeah.
Underneath there, and then the wrench was in there. Well, that was pretty interesting.
So far, the tagline I find is, when nature turns evil, true terror awaits. Who wants to go first?
Antichrist.
When nature turns evil, she awaits.
I have Antichrist. All women are evil by nature.
Antichrist. When nature calls.
Antichrist. Orgasm.
Antichrist.
Orgasm.
Antichrist. I believe I can fly.
He thought he was one of the kids from Once Neverland and Peter Pan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty long tagline, but it's from the good old fellows at the UK. So that's the only tagline I saw too.
They just had one of the singers from Panic at the Disco name it.
Oh, there's also Nature is Satan's Church.
Nature is Satan's church. Antichrist. Depressed. Have sex.
Antichrist. You gonna save that baby, and then you see the SpongeBob. Oh, I'm gonna sit back down for a little bit. Or no, he's gonna get up and go. Never mind.
I'm gonna head out.
There you go.
I'm gonna sit down.
Yeah, those are the only ones I can really think of. How it would have ended, I think
Alternate
that
ending?
they both should have been sacrificed.
I thought about that
Mm.
actually. I couldn't find a reason, but I thought about the same thing. Mine would have just been like, that's it. When he walked away from the fire, that was it. Because that ending still confuses the shit out of me. Because it kind of just, okay. I think it bothers me because the whole movie, you can pretty much chalk it up to the Fox talking and things like that happening, things that are happening around Willem Dafoe was seeing, was like him dealing with his grief, hallucinating every once in a while. But that ending kind of gave it a more spooky factor, which didn't really wasn't really there most of the movie. Yeah, there was hallucinating happening, but like that to me kind of made it more like, okay, this is now ghosts and things are coming out and stuff, and it just kind of made me feel weird, like they were trying to change the vibe of the movie at the very, very end, and there was no context, no nothing. It's just, I'm gonna just have all these faceless women start walking toward Willem Dafoe, like it's one of his birthday parties or something.
They weren't. Thought they were going like the opposite way. Like, I don't know.
Like as he was leaving Eden, they were going back to Eden.
Well, it looked like
It
there
was
was
like a
some,
mountain. I don't know.
it
What
looked
it
like
was.
there were some that were coming down and some that were coming up, and I assumed Willem Dafoe was in the middle, but I don't know for a fact. I mean, at least that's what it seemed like.
I almost felt like whoever got killed, that person had already been through so much torment, so much, you know, just hell on earth that they would have probably just taken their own lives. So that's originally what I thought was going to happen. But if I had to end it, that's what I thought would have. I probably would have ended it that way, just because they were already so dirty and so evil towards each other that at the end of the day, just as characters, I'm not saying this as a real person, but I feel like they probably should not have continued on with life.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, just the more I think about it too, because I think about the next phase. Things happen in movies, and then you don't see the consequences of it happening. Is he just gonna return home? Like, yeah, I went to the woods with my wife, and she ended up going crazy, so I killed her and burned her in a pile of wood. Like,
That's nice enough.
or does he just act like she disappeared and he doesn't know anything about it? But he has to go to the hospital to treat that leg wound. Like, there's no way
This
he
was
could just go home and just let it heal and act like his wife went missing. Like,
this was the prequel to The Evil Dead.
right?
Cabin in the woods.
Cabin in the woods.
It's-
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. It was a. Also, I'm noticing right now. I didn't notice it whenever I was watching it, but the prologue. Well, the prologue I obviously noticed it was all in black and white. So was the epilogue.
Yeah.
Which to me, the black and white beginning and the cinematic way it was put together was very artsy and nice, whereas the ending other part just confused me and didn't seem as cool as the beginning one. But they obviously wanted to make them seem both significant in their own ways.
I think the perfect way to end it is exactly how it started, jumping out the window.
Oh yeah. You
All
could've
dark.
done-
See what the
coulda- Yeah, no, you could have done that too. Like, yeah, he could have offed himself or something, but that's an Antichrist conversation, guys. I don't know where else we go from here. Unless Nick, you wanna tell everybody where we go from here next Wednesday.
Next
August
Wednesday.
August the 3rd.
August the 3rd.
I thought it'd be nice
Oh,
to treat ourselves to some eye candy, I guess. If you eye candy, I mean, we had some Willem Dafoe eye candy, but I feel like
Ooh.
may go another direction here.
Ooh.
So we're gonna go with the Megan Fox and Jennifer's Body.
Ooh.
Jennifer's Body.
This is the unrated version of it.
Jennifer Hottie.
And that's Wednesday, August 10th. Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there.
August 10th.
Marking that down.
Marking it down. Put it in the old schedule.
Hell yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah, dude, I remember the last time I saw that movie, no lie, was at the Dollar Movies, like 4 weeks after it already came out. It came out, I think it was like a big hit for like 2 weeks, and then it went to the Dollar Movies, and that's when I went and saw it. Dollar Movies.
I don't know. We used to have a dollar movie theater around here in Corpus as well. And they shut down, I believe, after the pandemic or during the pandemic, I think.
Terrible.
Maybe before the pandemic? I don't know.
I miss those because it's like, oh, I didn't get to see it in its initial run, like when it first came out. Let me go check it out for just $1.50. Like that just, it bums me that some of those places are just dying out.
Well, yeah, but there's some places like the Alamo Draft House around here. They'll play old movies on the big screen, just randomly. They'll
Nice.
just put, older, not even older, just things that just bring it back for a weekend or a couple of weekend runs, which I think is pretty cool. Alamo Draft House is pretty expensive, but I mean, I would say it's pricier than the other theaters. It's not super expensive, but I mean, it's cool, like what you said, to go experience the theater version of what that's supposed to be like instead of in your house. It's not the same.
We have a theater like that here. I'll be there Sunday now.
Hell yeah!
Little cheap plug.
Nice.
Throw another cheap plug.
But
UHD.
next week, Nick, UHD, August the 3rd, we're talking about May.
May.
That's literally the name of the movie.
Yeah, it's May. So yeah, 2002, 2002. So yeah, it's another 2000.
Juan.
It might be two.
One. It's on Tubi. I know that.
Yeah,
May.
It has Anna Faris from the Scary Movie. It's not the main character, but she's in that movie. Just that's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I guess that's the episode, huh, guys?
That'll do it.
Definitely, if anyone's thinking about watching this movie, it's definitely I think it's a good for a one-time watch for anyone that really wants to get shocked in something that they haven't seen it's honestly, I've never seen a movie like it. I can honestly say that I've never seen a movie like this movie. It's definitely an experience to watch this movie one time through. I watched it on YouTube, $3.99. You could get it for $2.99 if you're going to get the standard. But I was like, I'm throwing in that extra $1 because it's going pretty well right now. I can spare that extra $1.
You see that definition, the ass.
Yeah, you really want to spend that extra $1 and see Willem Dafoe's ass.
Waiting for that 4K.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely let you know right now. It's a pretty explicit movie. If you have any kids, you probably don't even want them around one bit for this movie. But yeah, no, it's some crazy stuff happens. What we said earlier about the woman and her taking, just need to watch it. One time.
Willem Dafoe said that the director, I mean, he had more crazy stuff planned out, but they did they held back on it.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine.
Like I was gonna get a cactus and just start going to town.
It's, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I'm Mr. Fuentes. Y'all can check me out. I do music and things. I'm actually going to the alias of Childish Gambino. I do raps as Childish Gambino. So Danny Glover just or Donald Glover just stands in for me. But I'm really Childish Gambino, guys. Homeboys drop it like the Nasdaq.
I like your show, Atlanta.
But anyway, no, for real though, I do music. My name is Mr. Fuentes. You can check me out on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you stream music. I do have a concert coming up next month, August 19th at Rich's Billiard in Corpus Christi. I've been plugging it. I've been hyping it because I truly believe I am going to be doing the best concert I've ever done, ever. And it's going to be awesome. If you are in the area or want to make the trip out to Corpus Christi, come out and have fun and, maybe hit me up on the next day and we can go to the beach or something. But yeah, check it out. And thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Up my plays on Bonfire for Childish Gambino. Anyway, peace. That's it for me.
As far as my end, you can follow me at the 4K Bag on Instagram. You can catch me on also next week, and you can catch me on the recent episode of the Cement Movie Podcast.
That you can. This past Monday, yeah, we just got done talking about Nope, the latest movie from Jordan Peele. You guys can catch me on the Cinema Movie Podcast. Instagram, one word, Cinema Movie Podcast. We have a live event as well going on this Sunday, July 31st, 1 p.m. at Rodeo Cinema here in Oklahoma City at 2221 Exchange Avenue, right here locally. We're going to be doing a school supply fund drive. You guys can come watch an A24 movie with us, pick up some school supplies while they last, try some OKC soda, and then hang out for the podcast. It kicks off our girthy month of A24 movies. We're going to be talking about A24 movies on Monday and Thursday. So, yeah, hopefully you can come hang out and see us on Sunday.
Girthy.
Nick, you're going to be doing an A24 movie on Thursday. So not this Thursday, but in 2 weeks. So that should be a pretty fun conversation, hopefully.
I'm going to have one guys in the episode.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Spoiler. It's
Yeah.
going to happen.
And I want to say thank you guys for this great conversation today and all month long, really. I'm excited to see where August takes Friday the 14th. And, again, a big thank you to everybody, both of you guys. Great conversation. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for exciting them inside me, making our conversations very girthy.
Girthy.
Hell yeah. All right, guys.